Hey, real quick, before this video starts, this is a great celebration video. We hope you enjoy it and stay to the end. One person was not able to log on, so I got with her after we recorded this episode. So they're going to get 2 episodes today. The second episode will feature Laura Kimbrough, and you know her story. And this episode I'm going to dedicate to the memory of her son, Seth. Life doesn't come with a reset button, but healing, that's a journey. One moment, one story, one connection at a time. Welcome to Life Rewired, the podcast that amplifies the voices of brain injury survivors, caregivers, and advocates. I'm your host, and today we're celebrating something truly special, our 100th episode. We've laughed, cried, learned, and grown together. We've built a community rooted in resilience, honesty, and hope. And today we're bringing back some of the voices that's helped shape this journey.
And it all starts in 30 seconds.
Love and laughter lead the way through the darkest, hardest days. Hope still burns, it won't retire. This is me, my life rewired. I was broken, now I'm whole. Wrote new chapters for my soul. Not the end, just re-inspired. This is me, my life rewired.
So settle in. This episode is a celebration of survival, growth, and the community we've built together. Welcome to Life Rewired's 100th episode.
Welcome to the panel.
Hello.
Hi, guys. Today we are celebrating you and we're celebrating the viewers because you guys have been instrumental in helping us get to this point. So, Ashley, I'm going to kick it over to you and allow you to go ahead and start so you can choose who the first guest is, and then it's off of my back.
Okay. It's so great to see you all again. I can't believe it's been 100 episodes. Wanted to find out what has changed since you guys were last on the podcast. So, Lisa, would you like to give us an update first?
Meeting Rob was really my introduction to brain injury. I had my brain injury came from electric shock treatments that were treating my depression. And I, for whatever reason, never put it together that it was a brain injury. But since then, and the information that I've gotten from the podcast and from the support group, I'm able to treat it as a brain injury, which is taking steps to make it better, taking small rest times, giving myself a little bit of extra time. So I've really learned a lot. And actually, since Rob, I've been on your podcast, I've probably been on over 25 podcasts.
Congratulations.
So you inducted me.
You were our guinea pig. Sounds great. Let's go to one of our most viewed podcast. You're kind of tied with the number one, Jennifer. There's debate on if your podcast was the number one or not, but we're going to go ahead and don you the title today of the most viewed podcast that we've had so far. So congratulations to that. How has your life changed since we've talked to you last?
Oh, it's actually stayed quite a bit the same, but I've been still working on my driving. I still just have a permit, but I've just been starting with that and just trying to practice when I can, about a couple times a week roughly, because I still have like hoops to jump through to get my license to actually drive for the DOT, which will cost me money. And of course, with the lack of transportation, it's hard for me to find a part-time job as well.
True.
And then transitioning to Medicare through my disability. So yeah, there's all that. I've been working through that.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, and you will get there. I have all the faith in the world in you.
Thank you. I'm getting there too. I've started getting more comfortable, at least with my in-town driving. I've haven't been comfortable trying to do out-of-town driving yet, but I'm trying to get there.
Baby steps. That's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
I'm going to kick it over to Dawn.
Yeah,
Dawn, you might remember, was in a car accident with her daughter, and she has since wrote a book, and they now teach classes to high schoolers about brain injuries. What's been going on in your life, Dawn?
I've had a lot of changes since the last time I was on. Actually, after 17 years, I actually got another symptom to my brain injury, and I've had a lot of vestibular problems, which affects your ears and your eyes, and it causes a lot of overstimulation. It affected movement in front of me, and actually, it caused of dysfunction in my life because I was unable to watch TV. Driving became hard, like with the windshield wipers and the sound of the car moving and like the radio on and someone talking. I had to have quiet, and I was very affected by movement. And I went through PT for it, and it helped a little bit. And then another change that I've gone through is I have bipolar disorder, and I tried to go down on my medicine, which didn't work very well because I became manic and I had to go back up on my medicine. But I learned in a neuropsych test recently that brain injury and bipolar disorder can both cause a lot of same overlapping symptoms. And bipolar 1 can actually cause a brain injury when you have mania and it goes untreated. It changes the structure of your brain and it causes thinning of to gray matter. And that was new to me. So whether a lot of my symptoms are from my brain injury 17 years ago or from my bipolar 1, I don't know. But either way, I have a brain injury. And that's been a lot in my life. It caused me to go off Facebook. It caused me to spend a lot of time at home and be in the quiet a lot. So, but I'm back now. I'm feeling better.
So glad to have you back too, Don.
Thank you.
I've watched you over the last year because we've become really good friends as well. And I've watched you just blossom, and I've seen the change in you. So you may not acknowledge it yourself, but I do see it. And you are so much along your journey farther than you probably think you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Last and definitely not least is my brother. I call him my brother because we have become so close. The fantastic Jason Lawley. Jason.
Hi, everybody. Just an honor to be here today. Thank you all for having me. What I would say is where I have come from since we have done the episodes that we've done is that one, I've had several re-injuries, so I've had to navigate those. Two, I was just moving in and moving out on my own at the time and learning how to provide for myself financially, stepping into being a TBI life coach and consultant, and all of that. And that was a scary journey for me. And it's been a beautiful journey as well to be able to step into that. And it's growing and all of that. But really, what I would say is navigating the injuries, learning how to provide for myself. I'm seeing a tremendous amount of growth for myself in being able to really slow things down better so that I can manage my life better. It's always going to be a challenge, and some days are easier than others. Like today is a very hard day.
Yeah.
I am in the middle of my PTSD episode because I had my clothesline incident was September 29th, 2019. So I'm coming up on that day in a couple of days. Every day I get closer, I get worse. So yeah, I've come a long ways. started to really see my impact in the videos that I'm doing with the TBI survivor experiences, created a Patreon that is a really powerful resource. And so since we have been on the podcast, it's been some time. I've really gone into my own isolation, started taking care of myself, and really just growing and building, trying to create more for TBI communities and survivors. And I'm trying to bridge that gap between the medical professionals and the survivor experience so that they can begin to treat the whole patient. And that's really what I'm trying to do with the Patreon. So lots of growth since, and there's going to be much more to go moving forward. And I'm sure even many steps backwards because re-injuries continue to keep happening, not calling those into my future, but just acknowledging that I've had several since, and I'm sure they'll show up again at some point in time.
Yeah. I applaud all of you guys, and I recognize the growth that you've all had, and I've seen it. Jennifer, I've not really been able to talk with you a lot, but just from our first encounter we had, got it like a year ago till now, I definitely do see the growth in you. So, again, applause to all of you guys. And I want to kind of segue, and we're going to get to each of your projects to any, because I want to promote anything you guys have going on. But let's kind of segue just a little bit. I want you guys to tell us why it is so important for awareness, because people don't get it. You know, the people that don't have brain injuries, they don't understand why they need to know about it. So let's start. I'll start this off. I'll go with Dawn first this time. Dawn?
I believe that education is so important because by knowing what a brain injury causes, it allows family and friends to be more patient with you. And patience is what we need because this is a long journey. And family and friends are going to have to deal with it forever. And what often happens is without education, people desert. They don't understand what's going on. It annoys them. They don't understand the mood changes or the rage that happens. And they decide they don't want to be part of your life anymore. So, and I actually teach at high school with my daughter. And I know that all the students that we teach, no matter what they do in life, they're going to have heard about brain injuries. So I'm an advocate. Education is important.
Very important.
Kick it over to Jennifer.
Awareness is important because, well, it really does go along with like what Don said. Is I feel like the more people can understand what goes along with a traumatic brain injury, then at least, well, in most cases, people are at least able to be more patient. And unfortunately, I kind of feel like some people aren't as patient anyway, so they're not likely to be as patient about it. But it at least helps people to be aware and just like understand, like, hey, this is going on, this is what it is, so then they can maybe at least try to, at least if nothing else, maybe try and put themselves in your shoes a little bit, and just hopefully do what they can to help you, I guess.
Thanks, Jennifer. Let's go with Jason this time. You went last before, so let's go with you before we get there.
It's all good either way, brother. So, why do I feel it's important that people understand brain injury and we speak about its awareness? Because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. You have every young boy playing contact sports, causing brain injury. And that is feeding the male stigma and not being able to express our emotions. So you have a lot of men not expressing emotions, so they're feeding each other. You have brain injuries happening in domestic violence situations. You have brain injury happening in car accidents. You have brain injury everywhere. And it is impacting people's lives whether they recognize it or not. the one thing that I learned, and I think many of us have learned through brain injury, is that it's irrational, it's illogical, and we don't always know what we're experiencing. Like Dawn said, she's how many years in, and now she's like, oh, new symptoms, and we don't always know how the symptoms are showing up. I had several symptoms I never knew I was experiencing, just dismissed because society dismisses concussions. It's important that we have these discussions because not only is it everywhere, but it's invisible. And it changes our entire reality and identity. It changes how we can relate and interact with the internal and external world. And so if we're not talking about this, you have millions of people, it's like 1.4 million a year or something like that get a new brain injury. And do not quote me on that number, but I know it's up there.
It's up
and
there.
So if you have 1.4 million people getting a brain injury a year, it didn't just go away.
Right.
That's adding to the number. And we're all out here not understanding we're emotionally dysregulated, or we have cognitive deficits, or my body thermal regulation is off. Like, I'm cold today, and I live in Phoenix. So, I think that's the importance, is to bring awareness to the unknown, to bring compassion and grace to what we don't understand, so that we can show up, because we're supposed to be here to serve each other, to help each other, right?
Yes.
Some of us fall, others need to help pick us up, and we need to help pick ourselves back up.
Right. Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome.
Yeah, oftentimes we don't pick ourselves back up. That's one thing I think as a survivor, is that we tend to put ourselves on the back burners, and we need to do better.
We beat ourselves up.
We really do. Lisa.
Well, here's your typical brain injury thing. Can you repeat the question?
Yes.
So true.
So true.
Why is brain injury awareness important?
Thank you, because I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very short recall. In my life, brain injury awareness has helped me to describe it's hard to say. People don't go around saying that they've had shock therapy, ECT, electroconvulsive therapy.
Right.
But there are hundreds of thousands of people all over the world who have had it, and the doctors deny that there's been any damage to their brains. So we've all been lost kind of out in space. But by talking to you and learning from the podcasts, I've been trying to educate all of the people that I know who have had ECT. Even giving them those little hints, like do something, then take a break, and don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
And, I have a service dog. I've had him for a long time. And I look completely normal. And just the other day I had, so what kind of service dog is he? Border Collie Lab. But she wanted a different answer.
Yeah.
I do try to educate people and not show my frustration. So I try to explain to them, number one, that you can't see every disability.
Very true.
And you don't know if that person has had a car accident. You don't even know if they've had a heart transplant. So I'm just trying to let people know, don't jump to any conclusions. Give the person a chance. They could be having a hard day. Maybe they need some time to themselves. But just take it as face value.
Right.
So yeah, I'm trying to extend it to the ECT world.
Very well said, Lisa.
Thank you.
That frustration is so real. And I try to remind myself that person, I don't like to use the word ignorant, but you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of people are, this is the first time they've even heard what a brain injury is because they get all of their knowledge from what they see on television and movies. And we all know that is not accurate. So yeah, it's a definite learning curve for everybody. And I have found, and I'm most sure you guys can agree with me on this, that once you educate somebody about it, their whole perspective completely takes a right turn and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm very sorry, I didn't realize that. So yeah. I'm going to turn it over to Ashley now because we have a few questions that has come in through our support group, and we want to, as we have a nice panel here today, we want to get you guys to help us to answer some questions.
Yes. So the first question is, how do I deal with friends or family that call me names and put me down about my disability?
So let's just, I don't want to call anybody who would like to take that first.
Take a couple seconds to think about that because when I first read that, my question was, well, what specifically, do they call you and they use some very not so nice words, including the R word, which I will not say because I work with individuals with intellectual disabilities.
Oh, I've got answers, but I want to let other
Okay,
people go.
Jason, jump in.
All right, so I dealt with a lot of judgment and a lot of condemnation in the early parts of my brain injury because I was articulate and I'm athletic, and so of course I was just fine, right? So I got a lot of the lack of grace and the lack of compassion and the lack of trying to understand or even listen to what I was saying. And as a poet, I was painting portraits and landscapes of my experiences. People should have been able to truly understand, but they were, because it was invisible, they had a very hard time understanding what I was saying. So before I get into what I want to respond with, I want to say, do they show up that way? And I believe that they show up that way is they don't know what to do. Like we talked about, we don't know what we don't know. They're scared. They've watched us change, right? All of those kind of aspects. And it's hard for our loved ones to sit in pain with us. It's uncomfortable. And not everybody's trained to be able to do that. So I'm not excusing the way they respond. I'm just showing some perspective because Rob just said when we talk about it, perspective helps. And it's important to extend that grace to caregivers as well because their lives have changed drastically. But when they do show up aggressive, what I would do, and I encourage any and all caregivers to please go get therapy so that you don't show up that way, so that you can go take care of the things that you need to take care of inside of yourself, so that you're not building anger and resentment towards me because I can't function the way I used to be able to function. Because you are having a hard time, like I'm having a hard time grieving the death of the old me, right? But when somebody shows up like that to me, I'm in a different place. So I'm going to give you my hard answer, which is my hard boundary. Okay. My hard boundary, because I've had to learn how to draw certain boundaries for myself throughout this, because I don't engage in toxicity. I'm too sensitive. I can't handle that inside of my brain. It will make me spiral and make me very mentally unwell. So if you show up aggressive, and you show up nasty, and you show up toxic in my life, I don't care who you are. You can see your way out of it. Like, for real. You can see your way out of it. If you don't want to love me for me, and you don't want to take a moment, show me the action of love. Don't tell me you love me. The action of love is to try to listen to me, to understand me. So anyone who says those words to you, I would ask them to please listen to me. Don't dismiss my reality. I'm communicating to you. I'm expressing to you what I'm experiencing it, and if you're choosing to react or respond in that way, that is your choice. And you are accountable for that choice. You don't get to treat me that way. I love myself. But a lot of brain injury survivors don't have that sense of self-love, so we take that abuse. We feel like we're a burden, so we take that abuse. And the caregivers, and a lot of times, they may not even realize they're being abusive. And this is just really a huge, impossible situation. So compassion and grace all around. But ultimately, I would encourage anyone and everyone to just try to show up and slow things down and just truly try to have the intention to understand lovingly, to listen, right?
Wow. That's powerful, Jason.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any?
So, in my case, I actually haven't been around very many people that have called me names. Granted, I feel like when it comes to the patience thing, though, yes, I definitely feel like when it comes to my dad, especially, sometimes he will like lose his patience, but I think he's just always kind of been like that anyway, so that doesn't help. But yeah, so when that happens, though, I just kind of go away and just let him be for a while. That's how I handle that. But honestly, when it comes to the name calling, the most of what I deal with when it comes to name calling myself is since I never go anywhere, I'm literally a homebody. But basically, is from trolls on Facebook or social media. People that literally will do that to like react to what I'm saying when I'm speaking my mind and stuff. But I just do my best not to try and take it personal and think of it as not my circus, not my monkeys. The person doesn't know me. So, and I do my best to just look at it from a positive mindset and not dwell on it.
That is very good advice, and you said something that I say probably 5 times a day. Not my circus, not my monkeys. When
Oh,
people come to me and say, "Can you believe so and so said this?" I always that's my response. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I've got my own problems to deal with. I don't need their problems too. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Mhm.
Right. Jennifer,
Yeah.
what you were just saying, real quick, I just want to add to that is I always say that uneducated opinions hold zero value. I remind myself of that. That's a great way to depersonalize it.
That's a very good point there. I
That's
agree.
awesome advice though, Jennifer, because I think it's very easily to take it personal. But
Yeah.
like you said, at the end of the day, that person doesn't know me, and I have found that if you ignore it, they go away because you
Hmm.
take all of the power back away from them when you ignore them.
Hmm. That's true.
Anyone else
Um,
want to jump in on that one?
Go ahead, Dawn.
I've been really, really fortunate that my family is extremely supportive, and my daughter has a severe brain injuries, and so our family has really tried to understand. In the beginning, they didn't. What was the question? What was the question?
How do I deal with friends or family that call me names and put me down about
Oh,
my
oh,
disability?
I haven't had a problem with that because what I do is I explain to people in the beginning. I have a very poor memory. I have very slow processing. If I ask you to repeat something, just bear with me. and my memory is bad. So, like with my husband, I'll ask him to repeat things, and he used to think I just wasn't listening to him. But I'm listening. I just don't understand what I'm hearing. So he has to repeat it. So I do a lot of explaining what's going on to other people, and I've not had a negative reaction.
I will say this about you, Don. You are such a soft spoken, caring person
Oh,
that a lot of people, if anyone's going to attack you, I need their names and numbers because I will kick butt.
I'll send them to you if I ever
I'll
have
come join in.
Yeah, we'll have a cavalry
to.
coming out for your rescue.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Lisa, do
I
you have anything that you want to
yeah.
add?
Um, I really have to say I'm very blessed. I have a wonderful family that from the beginning of this simple depression, which there was nothing simple about it. Um, they just took such good care of me and helped me all the way through. Um, I think it's hard for them to see when I have hard days, and sometimes I just assume maybe that they're not paying attention or they don't know, and I'm just not aware that maybe I should ask for a little grace. Um, I just have amazing friends and family. I really, really do.
That is awesome.
Um, the second question we have is, how does one with long-term brain injury stop the negative public stigma of TBI? While you guys are thinking, I just want to say when this question came through, um, it's like trying to solve world peace, but um, that's why the awareness, I feel like, is so important because we shouldn't have to feel ashamed whether it's mild TBI or post concussive syndrome like I have, or something as significant as a severe traumatic brain injury, where somebody's completely dependent on another person. Um, the awareness goes a long, long way, but everybody's got to kind of speak up in order to do that. And a lot of people, I feel like, are afraid of speaking up.
I agree with you on that. I think your analogy was dead on with solving world hunger. You know,
World peace, but that's okay.
well,
Brain injury.
we can tackle both. How about that? We'll have a telethon. Someone dig up Jerry Lewis.
Oh,
Oh gosh, some of you are probably too young to know who he is.
I think some people just don't know your sense of humor, Ra.
But
Jerry Lewis, man, a lot of people aren't going to know that.
I do
Um,
want to mention though, real quickly, Laura Kimbrough was going to be with us. She's having internet connection, so she is not going to be able to join us today. But she
Oh,
did ask if I could at least mention about Seth, her son. As many of you probably know, her son had committed suicide, and she
mm,
wrote a book about giving light to the darkness. So she's been sharing Seth's story with the masses. And if you guys would go to Inner Peace Press and at least give her book a purchase, that would be so wonderful to help her out to spread her message. So I don't think we can say enough about the rate of people that end their lives that have a traumatic brain injury, especially those that go undiagnosed and are in severe depression and don't realize why they're in depression. So yeah, if you could just do that. And by the way, everybody that's on the podcast today, I'm going to have a link below in the description. So if you want to go watch the podcast that they've been on, I will have the link to each of the podcasts so that you can view that. So we hope that you will at least take time to give that a view and just help support these people. So Ashley, back to you.
Oh,
Pick me.
so did anybody want to
Jason.
tackle the question? All right,
Pick
go ahead,
me.
Jason.
One, Rob, what you're just saying, I just want to remind people that may not know this. There is a very powerful documentary out there called, I think it's called Brain Damage, The Truth About Trauma. And in there is very powerful statistics like TBI survivors are 400 times more likely to suicide.
Oh,
We're 200 times more likely to fall into substance abuse. 90% of marriages fail. 60 to 80% of people are homeless or incarcerated, some sort of brain injury. Very serious statistics.
wow.
Okay. So I just want to share that with you. 400 times more likely. That's why my arm says still alive. Okay. So and every butterfly is for every countless ideation I had, some darker than others. So I just wanted to touch on that point. I think it's a very important statistic for people to understand as we talk about on the 100th episode, right? Ashley, I want to touch on that question. How do we, as a long-term brain injury survivor, stop the negative impact of the stigma by not letting it impact us anymore, by not letting it take our power anymore? That is the best way as a brain injury survivor. You show up in a stigma, I see the stigma, that's you, not me. You don't want to see me, then I can't make you see me. I can't make people see what's going on. So the only thing I'm doing by fighting that, like you said, we're fighting against something bigger than us, is by making my small impact in the little world around me, by not giving it my power. You don't get to shame me for my brain injury. Right? The male stigma only is a stigma if I engage with it as a male. If I let you silence me, if I don't express my emotions, if I let you treat me as a financial transaction. So we have a choice in how we engage with the stigma. It's a relationship. And so we have a choice as brain injury survivors whether or not we're going to let someone place that onto us. And are we going to carry that for them? No. You go wake up. You go educate yourself. You go listen to what we're saying to you. You don't get to shame me. No, no, no. I get to exist.
Wow.
Very,
Powerful.
very-
Yes.
Preach.
I could not have said that better myself. Jason Lawley for president. Anyone with me?
Aye.
And I'm going to have Dawn. Dawn is going to be your vice president.
There we go.
I'm in. Let's go, Don.
I have two things to add. One person in the United States gets a brain injury every 9 seconds. That's really powerful. And then the
Yes,
other
it
thing is, we do not get to choose what happens to us, but we get
Correct.
to choose how we handle it.
Bingo.
It's so sad though, because so many people with brain injuries are really down on themselves. And so it's so hard for them to say, it's on you. They take it in.
Yep.
It's hard.
I think piggybacking off of what Jason said, we need to do a good job at educating other survivors that we don't have to take it in. We don't have to accept the crap that you're throwing at us. If you want to throw crap, that's fine. I'm going to step out of the way.
Takes confidence to do that.
I'm gonna add because I hear what Don's saying in what I said is I'm speaking from a place of empowerment, right? And when I first had brain injury, I did not have a sense of empowerment. I lost my entire identity. I didn't feel confident to speak in those ways. I actually didn't even know who I was, and I was taking on everybody else's stuff, right? And so, as we talk about this, I just think it's important to remember that everybody's at different stages. And so, some people are verbal, some people are nonverbal, some people can walk, some people can't walk. And so, like, we can give our answers, but they really come from where we're at. Because in the early part, I wouldn't have been able to tell somebody that. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have been able to, because I didn't know about brain injury. And I think that comes back to some of the first questions that we had is supporting and loving and understanding, because we need that supportive environment so that we can feel safe to learn who we are, so that we can have confidence, so that we can draw boundaries. It's all this process of self-discovery and self-empowerment once we get so fractured. So I think that's an important part, is that we all as survivors and we all as caregivers need to give ourselves compassion and grace. And just meet us where we're at. Meet us where we're at.
And the sad part is some people never got support.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I do want to make sure we allow time for each of you to plug everything that you're doing. So let's go around the room one at a time. I'll start with Jason first, and then I'll go clockwise here.
What am I doing?
Plug your Patreon, all the projects you're doing, but also want you to answer one question as well: is where would you like to see this platform that we're doing? Where would you like to see it go forward? So answer both of those questions. You have the floor.
Basically, where I'm at is, or what I'm doing is, I'm posting a lot of TBI survivor experience videos. They've proven to be very powerful, and I can't deny the reflection of the mirror that keeps coming back to me and the impact that I'm having by being able to express our experience in a way that others can relate to and understand. So that part, it's been a journey. And so that's going to continue to grow. I have over 100 plus videos. So I created a podcast as well recently. It's called TBI Butterflies, the Healing Conversation, or Healing Conversations. It's not necessarily so much about story sharing. And thank you, Rob. You and Ashley were a part of the inspiration, so thank you. But it's not so much about sharing stories as much as it is about, discussing the things that I've learned. I have a vast amount of knowledge and wisdom that I've learned from well over 1,000 plus therapies. So, yes. So I'm working on that. I have created my Patreon, like I said earlier, patreon.com/vulnerablylolly. It's $5 a month. The goal is to have provided a powerful resource that is affordable and accessible, because as we all know, that is not available. We do not have affordable, accessible resources that actually help us. So when I recognized I had 100 plus videos, I categorized them by topic. So 12 videos on TBI rage, videos on brain battery, positive coping skills, messages to caregivers, exacerbation, PTSD and trauma, right? All the different ways in which I speak, I've put them in categories so that they're not lost on my feed. I've also put together a 9-page resource list where I've done every therapy I've done and why and how it's helped. All the supplements that I've tried, with disclaimer too, check your blood work. Don't just take everything. You can destroy your kidneys. All the apps and gadgets that I've done and tried, the support groups I'm in online, the books. Rob, a lot of your book is on there. I'm creating a podcast. I'm creating a resource list with helpful organizations, nonprofits, all of these things. So in this Patreon, there's so much packed in there. It would take me a while to tell you everything that's in there. I am doing the traumatic brain injury life coaching and consulting. I just got picked up by an agent to do keynote motivational speaking. So I will be speaking on more of a national circuit about brain injury. I am going to bridge. I need you to hear me. I am going to bridge that medical knowledge saves lives, but they need to listen to the survivor experience, and we're going to bridge that to help the whole experience. I'm working on getting into NASCAR and personal injury attorneys and all of those kind of things. So I'm working on some really big. I started a TBI support group here in Phoenix. It's once a month. So I'm really stepping into my light and I'm empowering into my purpose. So I'm just trying to get the word out there the best I can.
And you did a great
And what was the
job.
question you wanted me to answer? Where do I want these platforms to go? What is that kind of what you were saying?
Yeah.
Is one, I think that these platforms, I was just on the Real TBI Wives or the Real Lives of TBI Wives podcast, and I know there's, Hope Survives podcast, and, all of these other podcasts and things out there. I just really hope that we're able to reach a greater mass, that we're able to get a better sense of education out there and awareness, but that we're able to really catch their attention. And, I think if there's one thing that we all need, what I hope to generate is eventually I see my vision to become a foundation of some sort where the money that I'm bringing in from my Patreon and from all of the different aspects that I start bringing money in, that I start being able to give back to a Life Rewired and Dawn and all the different ways that people are trying to do this. Because how do we make an impact? Marketing. We have to be able to get the word out. And we don't have the funds to do so. So, that's why my Patreon's sitting where it's sitting. That's why, my videos have become somewhat organic. They're organic, but it could be much bigger if I could market them, right? If I could actually get it to people who are looking for these things. So, yeah. So you can find me on decisivelife.org. You can find me on my socials under Vulnerably Lolly, Lally, or on Facebook under Jason Lolly, Lally.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you.
Lisa, you're next.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you again. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, we'll start first with what are you working on and where do you want to see it? Where do you want to see your projects going?
Jason talked about that bridge, and I'm doing the same thing with ECT survivors. I'm trying to get them to recognize that this is where they are right now, and they have a very there's no support out there for anyone who has had shock treatments.
Mm-hmm.
There's no support groups. I even called down to Washington, D.C. to the National Alliance for Mental Illness. There's nothing. There's no support. There's nothing. But I have connected with 2 women who also had ECT. One of them is starting a podcast, and I'll be on the podcast within the next couple of months. And the other is a researcher, and she did have ECT, but she's been able to put some very powerful research together, and some of it was recently published in a medical journal.
Good.
And it's probably the biggest research study that there has been on the effects of electroconvulsive therapy.
Amazing.
Everywhere you look, everyone says it's safe and effective.
No.
And there's 800 of us from around the world. It's not just America. It's Australia, it's Canada, the UK, Ireland, it's all over, and people don't want to give us the time of day because we have the stigma of depression first, and then we have the stigma of having had shock treatments.
Not to mention, if you prove that there's a correlation between shock treatment and brain injury, that shuts them down.
Yes, it
That
does.
costs them money. That's why they don't want to acknowledge
That's
that.
right. But there are some of us out there that are sick and tired of being turned away.
Mm-hmm.
Literally turned away from doctors. They don't want to deal with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I've become part of myself again, the advocate social worker. And by promoting my book and doing some public speaking, I'm trying to educate people about the connection.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Don't ever give that up. Keep going. Keep pushing.
I've learned from the best, Rob.
The best way to change the world is one step at a time. Dawn.
I'm going to let Jennifer go because I don't have my words right now.
Okay. We'll come back to you.
So, I guess for me, like, the main thing I've been just working on is just trying to write down what I'm going to be putting in my book once I finally get to where I can get that out there. And yeah, just otherwise I have social medias as well. I've done some public speaking. I know I've told my story at a couple of different places, and the last place I actually spoke at was in Muscatine at a violence awareness like type of place. I can't remember the name right offhand, but I recorded and I put it on a YouTube playlist, actually, including these like the times I spoke to you with you, and pretty much every time I did any sort of public speaking, I put those videos in the YouTube playlist for myself, like, and it's public so people can see it, but it's associated on my YouTube playlist with my J Schultz 22 email address. I can't remember the actual like username right off the hand. I have to look at it.
Make sure you
But
send that to me so I can link that below.
okay, yeah, and then of course I got social medias as well. I have Facebook and uh, TikTok and that stuff. I don't always post as much as I should, but Jennifer Ann Schulke is what I have as my name on all those. So you should be able to find it just by doing that search, Jennifer Ann Schulke, and yeah, I'll definitely have to send you the links so you can put those underneath for
Yeah.
like my social medias and stuff.
Yeah, please do. And the same goes to every one of you. You know, TikTok or whatever social media platform you'd like me to list, make sure you send that to me and I'll get that posted below. And Dawn, is there any projects or anything passionate that you're wanting to promote? Obviously, your book, your fabulous book.
I'm my mind is boggled right now because about 3 hours after I take my medicine, I get really tired. So I'm so sorry. Okay, my book is A Miracle a Day, One Day at a Time, Hope After a Traumatic Brain Injury. I don't know if you can see it. Besides my book, I also have a website. It's dawncorbelli.com, and I write about my daughters in my life, our trials and triumphs. It's very raw and real, just like my book. I don't sugarcoat anything. Some of it might be a little inappropriate or embarrassing or whatever it is. Share it because I want other people to learn what brain injury really involves. And we teach, and it's our 5th year this year, and we plan on continuing to teach. But also, I want to get more places. It's like I'm going to go to the college that's near us and have them let us speak about brain injuries. And also, I would like to go to the hospital, actually, where we stayed, and go to wait a second, the rehab floor and speak with the nurses and the CNAs. And at schools, I don't only want to speak to the students, I want to begin to speak to the parents of the students so they know what to look for in their children that are doing sports or even things out of school. People get hurt all the time doing many things. And we've actually had a student come up to us in class and say, I was going to kill myself because my parents don't understand and they don't want to understand. And they think I should be normal, So we did a lot of talking to her, and we had a lot of people come up to us after class. And besides thanking us, they tell us about their experiences with their own brain injuries and tell us that until we came in, they didn't feel like anybody understood. That they actually were like, oh my gosh, that's me. And that feels really good. So we want to go to other places besides the school to teach. But keeping up on our teaching at schools is a really, really big deal. So we're going to keep doing that.
Thank you so much, Dawn.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you, for giving us your time today. I know we've been here an hour, and I appreciate that so much. Before I give the floor to anyone that wants to say anything else, I want to remind people to go to our website. We have a list of resources. So if you're new to your brain injury journey and you're thinking, where do I go from here? We have every resource that we've ever come across that's been helpful to us. We put it on our website. So go to myliferewired.com and just look at the resources. If you want to be a guest on the program, contact us there as well, and we'll get you scheduled to be on the program. Thank you again, guys. Before we go, and I throw it to Ashley, does anyone have anything else they'd like to close out with?
I do.
Yes.
With my book, it has been endorsed by a neuropsychologist and a clinical psychologist, saying that it's actually helpful. It's very brain injury educational and also about our journey. Oh, God, there was one other thing. Oh, I don't know if any of you have your book on there, but my book is actually on the resource list at the Brain Injury Alliance of America. So if your book is not on there, you can talk to them about that. And it's nice to have a book on there as a resource. Also, mine is on the Brain Injuries. It's the Brain Injury Association of America, and ours is the Brain Injury Association of Colorado, and my book is on there too as a resource. So
As it should be.
thank you. It's available on Amazon as well.
I'm a little biased with your book, Dawn, because yours was the first book that I was able to read after my brain injury. So it always will have a special place in my heart.
And it makes me feel so good that I brought that love of reading back to you.
Mm-hmm. And it's your fault that I wrote a book. So
I love it. I told you I will read it. I will read it. And I have. And yep, you wrote a wonderful book too.
thank you. Okay. I think, Jennifer, yes.
Yes, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate how you brought me back here today and give me the time to come back and do this with you guys, basically.
I'm sorry it's taken so long to get you back on the program.
That's okay.
It's been, what, a year at least?
Yeah, it has been a while, but you know what? It's okay.
Okay. Anyone else?
Congratulations in a huge way about your 100th episode. That's a big, big milestone.
Thank you so much, Dawn. Thank you.
Yes,
And I
it
owe
really
it
is.
to all of you guys.
Thank you for having
We're happy to be a part of it. Yeah. I just want to say, Dawn, I just want to take a moment and acknowledge this. I celebrate the vulnerability it took for you to express, I don't have my words right now. How many of us don't feel we can do that? And I want to take a moment to acknowledge that that happened here on this show and to celebrate your ability to identify and communicate.
Thank you so much.
And just be in the symptom, and so that we could give compassion and grace to you, you know? So thank you for modeling that.
Thank you.
And Rob and Ashley, thank you for having me on. Thank you for, you know, just being you all, and Lisa and Dawn and Jennifer and everyone who's ever been a part of this podcast. This is making a big impact to anybody who's watching it. And it will make a bigger impact. And I'm excited to be a part of it. So thank you all. Love you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just thank you. This is the best place I could have found. And Rob, you led me here to a support group, to friends, and to information
Thank you so much for saying that.
that I couldn't get anywhere else.
Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate that.
You're a big deal, Rob.
I'm just a person.
Oh, stop blowing up his ego.
I'm just
It's
a
already
person.
big enough.
I am just a person.
You get to receive your flowers, brother. You've come a long ways yourself.
Thank you. I do feel that I have as well. I
Yes.
couldn't have acknowledged that a year ago. So, and that's mainly thanks again to you guys for
Yeah.
helping me get to where I can accept the things that I can't change and to embrace the things that I can. So now I throw it over to Ashley because she gets to be our closer.
Okay, well, before I close out, I want to do a shameless plug for my friend who started her own online business of bamboo pajamas. She has, I think it's called TN for short. It has to do with your brain sending pain signals to your face. And she had to have brain surgery last year. And unfortunately, it didn't completely work. But currently have a fall sale going on right now for 20% off. So the website is Get Cozy, spelled GETTCOZY.com. To check that out and support fellow brain injury awareness endeavors. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and reach out to us if you want to be a guest on the podcast. I am Ashley.
And I am Rob. And this is Life Rewired, 100th episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.